card teams still are the Braves, the Phillies, and the Padres. So let's just keep that in mind. And again, I just said I don't want to inspire too much optimism. I don't want to inspire too much belief in the Phillies after this last weekend. And maybe I was making that mistake going into this road trip. But I still believe the Phillies are making the playoffs. Is it September? Oh, it's September. Have the Phillies blown our socks off in September? No, they have not blown our socks off in September. They definitely give us the fear of the possible September collapse. It's still in the back of my brain here. The way they've started off the month of September, it's moving closer to the front of my brain right now. But I still believe this team is making the playoffs. But let's call it what it is. Abysmal. Losing 2 of 3 to the Diamondbacks, no excuses. You can maybe chalk up the idea, you're not going to win them all. You're not going to win every game. You're not going to win every series. You right the ship in San Francisco. They got swept in San Francisco. They looked like a minor league ball club in the first game of this series. When the other team has to pitch a position player because they're up by so much in the ninth inning, you really haven't done your job as a ball club. And that's exactly what took place in that first game. A 13-1 loss. You follow it up on Saturday with a 5-4 loss. At least they showed some fight. And then on Sunday, JT Realmuto tries to save the day with a 3-run home run and just couldn't do that. Saturday, defensively speaking, was just a piss-poor game by the Phillies. Absolute dreadful. Noah Syndergaard throwing a ball away at first. The Giants try to return the favor. Phillies, they capitalize on that by at least scoring a run. But really, they were all over the place. You have Rhys Hoskins making an error at first base, not being able to field a ground ball. Gene Segura gets a double play ball hit to him in second base. He's unable to turn two and help yourself get out of the inning. Instead, they get a run to across the plate. It was just mind-numbing plays, defensively speaking, by the Phillies. They bounced back a little bit with it on Sunday to cap off the long weekend. But it was just their heads leaving their shoulders throughout this series against the Giants. And possibly the biggest problem throughout this 6-game road trip was not being able to stop the free passes Phillies pitchers were giving. And that's from starting pitching to the bullpen. And probably the most guilty of all of it was Ranger Suarez, who in the third inning of both his starts on this road trip just lost it. In the fourth inning of both starts that he had on this road trip, just lost it. Lost the strike zone, lost all control. I don't know what happened to him going through the lineup again, but that second time through tortured Ranger Suarez throughout this road trip. And that's something you can't have one of the guys that's been one of your best pitchers over the last 3 months of the season carry into September. You can't start September like that. And then you go to the bullpen. And Christopher Sanchez, I don't know what has got in it, but the Phillies saw something in him. They brought him up from the minors, and he has not been able to throw strikes. We talked about his appearance against the Diamondbacks. 15 of his 30 pitches were called balls. They were all outside the strike zone. We talked about that. In this appearance, rather, that he had against the San Francisco Giants, same type of thing. Walking in runs in a tight ball game. We're talking about a 5-4 ball game. That is dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. And then yesterday, you see a lot of the same things. Yesterday, Sunday, you see a lot of the same things with guys just not being able to control the strike zone. And it was just dreadful. This isn't the Phillies team that I expected to see in September. I expected them to really hit the ground running, and they would have the series. We all talked about the schedule. And whenever we talk about the schedule, they got an easier schedule. No matter what sport, your schedule is really easy after that. Hey, man, you can lose to anybody. Your starting pitcher can lose a strike zone. Your bullpen can lose a strike zone. David Robertson all of a sudden pitching a second, going out for the ninth inning when you got other arms in the bullpen. And after the game, Rob Thompson's talking about how that was the last bat. Flores was the last batter that Robertson was going to be facing, and then they're going to bring in maybe Alvarado after that. Yeah, no kidding, it was the last batter because he walked it off yesterday or Sunday. Jeez. It was mismanaged. It was misplayed. Bats went cold when they shouldn't have went cold. it was just every out. Like you could blame a little thing every single series, but I think the most consistent thing every single game for these 2 series on the road was the way this team pitched. From issuing the walks, from not getting big strikeouts in big situations, and then Rob Thompson having David Robertson go out for a second inning after he just worked himself out of a jam in the 8th inning. 34 pitches, I believe, is what he went out at when that game ended. If I'm seeing my guy struggle, who, hadn't pitched for 4 days, like I was watching Robertson struggle in that 8th inning and was quite frankly lucky to get out of it in that 8th inning, I'm not trying him out there in the 9th inning. I don't know. We got out of that one. Let me not push my luck today and get Robertson out of that game. Instead, left him in. Next thing you know, he's walking it off with the 2-run home run. Phillies lose all 3 games in this 3-game series in San Francisco.